My brothers and sisters, listen closely, because what I am about to say challenges everything the world has tried to make you believe about us. They declared that Burkina Faso was finished. They labeled us the most terrorized country on earth. They issued the harshest travel warnings, cancelled visas, blocked our access to markets, and then leaned back in their chairs expecting us to come crawling. They expected desperation. They expected surrender. They expected us to beg. We did not beg. We built. In only a few years, we have achieved progress that took other nations generations. Some never reached this level at all. While we were being dismissed and isolated, foundations were being laid. While they predicted collapse, cranes were rising over our skyline. The United States placed us under its highest warnings. They restricted trade. They reduced us to a label. They assumed pressure would break us. But 8 months ago, something shifted the direction of the story. While Washington focused on tariffs, trade fights, and global threats, Canada made a quiet move. No grand speeches. No dramatic announcements. A deliberate choice. Canada chose to work with Burkina Faso. And in those 8 months, what has been set in motion has unsettled the most powerful officers in Washington. To understand why this matters, you must understand what came before. For more than 60 years after independence, Burkina Faso operated inside a structure built to keep us dependent. The arrangement was simple. We supplied gold. We supplied land. We supplied raw resources. In return, we received scraps. Sometimes a small road repair. Sometimes a modest project. Nothing guaranteed. Nothing proportional to what we gave. Even generosity was optional. In 2017, a student in Ouagadougou asked President Emmanuel Macron why university had no electricity. The response was blunt. It was not France's responsibility to fix our light bulbs. The laughter that followed echoed across our country. Millions watched. In that moment, clarity spread. The relationship was never about lifting us. It was about maintaining control. Our currency, the CFA franc, tied our financial system to external authority. Decisions affecting our economy were not fully ours. From independence until 2015, across 6 decades, we paved roughly 3,000 kilometers of road. 60 years. 3,000 kilometers. That was the outcome of partnership as defined by others. Many accepted this as normal. They believed this was the ceiling. But younger officers inside our military refused to accept stagnation as destiny. In 2022, 2 transitions reshaped the nation. Observers abroad called it instability. Many citizens saw something else. A break from inertia. 35 years after Thomas Sankara, a new leadership declared a clear position. The era of colonial dependence had to end. Foreign troops were asked to leave. The message to the people was direct. There were only 2 paths, full independence or surrender. The nation chose independence. Then global politics introduced an unexpected opening. As the United States intensified trade disputes under President Donald Trump, imposing tariffs and challenging long-standing alliances, countries around the world reassessed their positions. Inside Canada, policymakers and business leaders asked new questions. If the United States was no longer predictable, where else could sustainable partnerships be built? Which regions offered growth, resources, and young populations ready to collaborate? Attention turned toward Africa. Within Africa, toward the Sahel. And within the Sahel, toward Burkina Faso. 8 months ago, Canadian delegations began arriving in Ouagadougou. What they brought was different from traditional aid. No conditional assistance packages. No loans designed to bind future generations. No advisors dictating governance. They presented investment proposals. Technology transfer agreements. A message centered on collaboration rather than extraction. We want to build with you. Caution was natural. History taught us skepticism. But structurally, the offers differed from past arrangements. The timing mattered as well. Canada was not stepping in to rescue a weak nation. Canada was approaching a country determined to redefine itself. Washington reacted quickly. American officials questioned our legitimacy. They cited security concerns and existing warnings. They pressed Ottawa to reconsider. The language emphasized Western unity. Canada responded with measured independence. Ottawa stated it would pursue foreign policy decisions based on its own evaluation of partnerships. That response carried weight. It signaled that alignment with Washington was no longer automatic. This shift was not only about Burkina Faso. It was about autonomy in global decision-making. On the ground, the results became visible. In October 2024, the National Initiative Faso Bible was launched. The phrase means "let us build the fatherland." The principle is clear. Use domestic resources. Employ local labor. Form partnerships that strengthen national capacity. Canadian solar engineering firms entered agreements aligned with this framework. They supported the development of independent energy systems powering new construction projects. The difference from older models is critical. These firms are not building infrastructure to own indefinitely. They are transferring knowledge to Burkinabe technicians, training engineers, ensuring that when foreign specialists depart, expertise remains. Technology transfer in practice means the next installation is built by local hands. In the heart of Ouagadougou, the Burkinabe Business Center is rising. A 35-story tower surrounded by 14 additional 15-story buildings. The complex covers 4.6 hectares in the Ouaga 2000 district. Nearly 2,000 office spaces will consolidate government ministries that previously operated from rented colonial-era structures. The site includes 700 apartments, a multi-level shopping center, healthcare facilities, and an integrated power plant for energy independence. The total investment exceeds $500 million. Canadian solar frameworks contributed to the design of the energy system, adapted to local climate conditions. The expertise now resides within Burkinabe engineers. The developer is Casta Africa Group, a domestic company. Salaries circulate within local households. Contracts remain within national networks. This is wealth creation without surrendering control. Nearby, Zafara Plaza is under development close to the Monument of National Heroes. A central 20-story tower accompanied by 5 7-story buildings will host a hotel, government offices, residential units, retail spaces, and conference facilities for the Alliance of Sahel States. Canadian urban planning consultants collaborated with the national agency SONAT-UR to design a mixed-use environment supporting economic activity throughout the day and night. Such collaboration has drawn criticism from Washington. Yet the projects proceed. Infrastructure expansion extends beyond capital city towers. Esquire City, located a few kilometers from Ouagadougou, is delivering 2,000 housing units for teachers, nurses, soldiers, and families. Engineering partnerships supported drainage systems, road layouts, and solar grid integration. Standard apartments are priced around $20,000. Duplexes approximately $132,000. A broader program targets 50,000 housing units across 61 localities by 2029. By 2025, more than 12,000 units had reached advanced construction phases. In addition, the government is constructing 50,000 homes allocated free of charge to the poorest households. Healthcare and sports infrastructure are advancing as well. In Bobo Dioulasso, a 15,000-seat covered stadium is being assembled using prefabricated systems in partnership with Turkey's Integral Group, with completion expected in 2026. In Gawa, a 300-bed university hospital center is progressing toward a 2026 opening. Road construction has accelerated dramatically. Approximately 5,000 kilometers are paved annually, surpassing previous decades combined. Mining agreements have also shifted. Companies operating under older extraction models were presented with revised terms. Greater revenue retention within Burkina Faso. Increased employment for local workers. Profit sharing directed to community infrastructure. Some firms accepted the new framework. Sovereignty over resources moved from principle to policy. Beyond statistics, the movement has social depth. An elderly woman in her 80s purchased 2 bags of cement with her savings and personally delivered them to a construction site supporting the national initiative. Her contribution was symbolic yet profound. She declared her desire to be part of the foundation. Across the country, citizens are contributing labor, materials, and support. This transformation is not confined to government directives. It is embedded in civic participation. International observers see more than construction. They see a country redefining its economic relationships. Canadian firms investing. Turkish contractors building. German engineering expertise supporting housing systems. A network of partnerships selected on national terms. For Washington, the deeper concern is precedent. If Burkina Faso demonstrates that respectful partnerships yield measurable progress, other nations may seek similar paths. 8 months ago, Canada chose engagement grounded in mutual interest. Burkina Faso accepted with clarity and conditions aligned to sovereignty. While diplomatic debates continue, families receive housing keys. Hospitals near completion prepare to serve communities. Students study in expanding institutions. Athletes anticipate playing in domestic stadiums. Independence is not abstract rhetoric. It is visible in concrete, steel, solar panels, classrooms, and paved roads. The work continues. Independence is not a slogan shouted from a podium. It is measured in daily realities. It is measured in whether a child studies under reliable electricity, whether a nurse works in a hospital with equipment that functions, whether a farmer can transport goods on a paved road that does not wash away each rainy season. This is where the real transformation is taking place. Our annual road construction now reaches roughly 5,000 kilometers each year. Think about that carefully. In 6 decades under the old arrangement, we accumulated around 3,000 kilometers of paved roads. Today, in a fraction of that time, we exceed that figure annually. The difference is accountability. The engineers building today answer to the communities who use those roads. The funding structures are aligned with national priorities, not foreign agendas. In mining, the change has been equally direct. For years, foreign companies extracted gold under agreements that left minimal value inside our borders. 8 months ago, as new partnerships gained momentum, those companies faced a clear choice. Accept revised contracts that retain significantly more revenue within Burkina Faso, prioritize local employment, and dedicate portions of profit to regional infrastructure. Or depart. Several stayed and accepted the new terms. That shift represents more than economics. It represents confidence. A nation asserting authority over its own resources. Healthcare expansion is advancing in parallel. The University Hospital Center of Goa, designed with 300 beds, moves toward completion. For decades, entire regions lacked advanced medical facilities. Now modern infrastructure approaches communities long overlooked. Healthcare is no longer centralized in a single city. It spreads outward, closer to families. In Bobo Dioulasso, the 15,000-seat stadium rising from prefabricated systems symbolizes something equally important. National pride. Our athletes, the Stallions, will compete on home soil in a facility built to modern standards. Sport unites citizens across political lines. A stadium is not only concrete and steel. It is collective identity. Housing programs demonstrate perhaps the most visible shift in daily life. Esquire City continues expanding. 2,000 units designed for teachers, nurses, soldiers, and young families are taking shape. Drainage systems engineered for local climate conditions. Solar grid connections integrated from the start. Road layouts designed for long-term sustainability. These are not symbolic projects. They are functional neighborhoods. The broader National Housing Initiative targets 50,000 units across 61 localities by 2029. More than 12,000 units had already reached advanced stages by 2025. And the most ambitious element remains the commitment to provide 50,000 homes free to the poorest households. For families who never imagined home ownership, keys are no longer abstract promises. They are physical objects placed in real hands. People often ask how such expansion is financed. The answer lies in structural redirection. When revenue from natural resources remains within the country rather than flowing outward through imbalanced agreements, domestic investment becomes possible. When partnerships prioritize technology transfer instead of dependency, future costs decline. When corruption chains are cut, capital circulates internally. The transformation also reshapes the skyline of Ouagadougou. The Burkindi Business Center continues rising. 35 stories of glass and steel forming a new center of administration and commerce. 14 additional towers surrounding it. Government ministries relocating under one roof, eliminating long-term rent payments to aging structures tied to colonial administration. A dedicated power plant integrated into the complex ensures operational independence. This project alone exceeds $500 million in value. For a country labeled unstable and collapsing, such an investment contradicts external narratives. Canadian solar frameworks incorporated into the energy design strengthen autonomy. Yet the operational knowledge resides with Burkinabe engineers. The transfer of expertise matters more than the equipment itself. Zafara Plaza adds another dimension. Mixed-use development integrating hospitality, government offices, apartments, retail, restaurants, and conference halls designed to host the Alliance of Sahel States. Cooperation within the region strengthens when infrastructure supports continuous activity rather than isolated office blocks that empty after sunset. Canadian urban planners worked alongside Sonat UR, aligning external expertise with local vision rather than replacing it. International reactions remain tense. Washington expresses frustration. Diplomatic channels carry complaints that Canadian engagement undermines broader Western strategy. Yet the essential question lingers. What unified Western strategy ever centered African prosperity? History suggests otherwise. The example emerging from Burkina Faso extends beyond bilateral relations. It signals that diversified partnerships reduce vulnerability. Turkish firms contribute to sports infrastructure. German engineering knowledge supports housing design. Canadian solar expertise powers energy independence. Each relationship exists within a framework defined locally. What unsettles global power centers is not a single tower or housing estate. It is the model. If a nation long described as fragile demonstrates measurable progress through sovereignty and diversified alliances, others may follow. Consider regional dynamics. Niger reported approximately 7% GDP growth in 2025 amid its own infrastructure expansion. Across the continent, policymakers observe closely. They analyze whether conditional engagement tied to dependency truly offers the only path, or whether structured autonomy yields stronger returns. At the core of this transformation lies civic participation. The elderly woman who purchased 2 bags of cement from her savings embodies this shift. She insisted on contributing physically to the foundation of national construction. Her action resonated across communities. Children donate small amounts. Students volunteer time. Soldiers assist in logistics. Families contribute materials. The initiative transcends government decree. It becomes collective ownership. You cannot sanction collective ownership. Travel warnings do not halt construction cranes. Trade labels do not extinguish civic motivation. External pressure does not erase domestic determination. Meanwhile, the skyline continues to rise. Each completed floor challenges outdated perceptions. Each paved kilometer alters mobility patterns. Each housing unit stabilizes a family. Each hospital wing expands access to care. Independence, therefore, is visible. It appears in solar panels installed by technicians trained to replicate the process independently. It appears in mining contracts revised to favor national development. It appears in classrooms illuminated by reliable power. The narrative once presented to the world described Burkina Faso as marginal, unstable, peripheral. That narrative competes now with physical evidence. Towers, roads, hospitals, homes. 8 months of structured partnership with Canada accelerated progress already underway. The relationship did not initiate national resolve. It reinforced it. It respected it. It aligned with it. Washington may continue issuing warnings. Diplomatic disagreements may persist. But while debates circulate in foreign capitals, families move into new apartments. Patients prepare to receive care in facilities nearing completion. Engineers design the next generation of energy systems without waiting for external approval. The declaration made earlier remains the guiding principle. Full independence or surrender. The nation chose independence. And independence is not a single event. It is a sustained process. The work is ongoing. Foundations continue to be poured. Contracts continue to be negotiated under revised standards. Skills continue to be transferred. The story is not finished. It is unfolding in real time.